All right, so welcome to another episode of the Deals for Dentists podcast. And today we are joined by Dr. Len Tao. He is the dental director of Birdeye, which is all about reviews, everything you need to be found and connected with patients. And you can go to Deals for Dentists and you can find Birdeye's promo offer, which is get $300 off the professional plan paid annually or $25 off if paid monthly. So I see here that now you are listed as from Parkland, Florida. So did you move from Philly to Parkland?
Yes, about 10 days ago, we officially moved. I sold my home in the Philadelphia area after being there for 15 plus years, 14 years in my practice, which I'm still working, and we relocated our home down to Florida. So just a different lifestyle, especially during the COVID outbreak and stuff. We wanted to kind of lead a different life. So I just moved in literally 10 days ago. We're still unpacking, and things are good. No complaints from me.
That's quite the commute. I'm 7 minutes down the road from the office that I work at. I live and work in the same town, so you've got quite the commute. You still practice in Philly?
I do. So 2 days a week. My days are Monday and Tuesday. So my as of this recording, I just did my first commute. I left on Monday morning. Very easy drive. I'm about 30 minutes from the Fort Lauderdale airport. Literally drove in, parked my car, walked across the street. I walk on the plane because I'm an elite executive platinum on American. Got my first class seat. We arrived 25 minutes early. Took an Uber to my office. I started seeing patients at 10. I got there at 9:45. So it was the perfect first commute. Ask me in 3 or 4 months how many times I get delayed and stuff happens, especially with bad weather. But so far, 2 hours and 20 minutes in the air. And then I worked Monday and Tuesday evening, 8:45. I hopped on a plane back to Florida, and I arrived at my home at midnight exactly. So,
Wow.
so far so good. It worked out great. Had a very productive first week doing this. I think I ended up producing about $27,000 in dentistry in 2 days. So it's definitely worth my time to do the travel. So that's currently where we stand. So yes, I do still practice dentistry in the Philadelphia area.
So were you just tired of the winters and you finally made the move down south? I went to Nova in Fort Lauderdale, so I know that South Florida area well. It's like another animal down there, but there's nothing beats the weather down there.
Yeah, it was funny. The first week I got introduced to a tropical storm, so there was tons of rain and tons of weather. But no, we definitely wanted it to be in a little warmer climate. My wife's family is down here, her sister, and brother-in-law. So we wanted to be a little closer to them. And again, I think just a different lifestyle considering what's going on in the world. And we sold our home and bought a new home down here. So life is good, as I like to say.
Yeah, South Florida is just another animal. It's so I had a classmate. His name was Matt Payne. He was from the South, but he had a T-shirt that said "The South will rise again," and the tip of the southern tip of Florida was cut off. So it's not really considered the South. It's like a whole nother world. I wonder what he's doing now. His name was Payne, and he worked with his father, who was also Dr. Payne. So it was Payne and Payne.
Not
So
not a good name for the practice.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they changed their name of the practice, but anyway. How did you become the Jedi master or guru of reputation marketing and reviews? And that's pretty much what Birdeye is all about. And I think that I'm a Birdeye customer. We use it in my office, and it's been a game changer for us. And I think it's so important, and it's such a no-brainer, because ultimately when every patient is going to look at your reviews, they're going to look at your website, whether they found you on a billboard or in a newspaper or wherever you're marketing, they're eventually going to look at your reviews and check out your website. So I think it's to have a lot of, especially Google, to have a lot of Google reviews is so important right now. Also, it's fun. It creates a fun culture in the office. When we get a good review, we post it on in the office, and the staff loves it, especially when their name is mentioned. And it's really great for culture as well. So tell us about Birdeye and how you help dentists.
So it's interesting enough. I realized very early in my solo career, which I bought a practice from a dentist who unfortunately committed suicide back in March of 2007, I needed a way to kind of make myself different online. And I didn't want to do the traditional means of marketing. So I focused all of my attention online. And I started getting a couple reviews. And back then, 14 years ago, this was not a thing. And people started mentioning, hey, I read the reviews you have. I'm coming in because of that. And something just kind of clicked in my mind. And I said, this is something that's different. It's something that is going to be a game changer. And I made the decision to try and work with companies to get more reviews. And none of them were very good. The products out there were not very good. They weren't easy to use. There was a long process. And like I said, I tried multiple companies. I tried multiple things. And finally, one day I said, you know what? I know enough people. Let me see if I can do something myself. And I did. I created my own software product called iSocial Reviews. I debuted it at the Yankee Dental meeting in 2013. So just over 7 years ago now. And I did not know if anybody was going to buy it. I just had an idea and went with it. And I called Yankee Dental, because I went to dental school at Tufts. I've been at Yankee many, many years. I called the contact at Yankee and said, hey, I need the cheapest space you have. I don't care if it's in the back, just give me the cheapest space. And it was a relatively affordable price for what I needed, and set up a booth, and 9 dentists bought the product. There were setup fees. There were much higher fees than they are now. But I said, hey, people have interest in this. Let's try this. And I went to Chicago Midwinter and sold more. I went to the AACD, which was in Orlando that year. And it just kind of, went going. And plus I'm a speaker. So I was speaking and selling because my product was easy. It wasn't automated, but it was very easy to use. And lo and behold, a year and a half later, Birdeye came calling after I wrote an article in Dental Town magazine about how bad Yelp can be for your dental business. And they reached out letting me know that they had interest in possibly acquiring me. I wasn't ready for that at that point, but soon later I realized I couldn't grow the business more because I had my dental practice. I still had loans at that point. I mean, anything that happened now is kind of interesting looking back. And finally, I agreed to the acquisition. I joined Birdeye's team. And for the last 6.5 years, I've kind of I run the dental division now, but I was a consultant in the beginning. They realized how good of a salesperson I was selling it. And that's the story. I mean, I've been with Birdeye that long. I don't own the company, in dental. I'm the face of Birdeye. People think I own the company. I don't. I just run their dental division. And I help with product development. The new product we released in July called Referrals was kind of my baby. And I told them what I wanted to do. And they built something for us as dentists to promote our practices. So I have some influence in the company, but I'm not an owner. But that's kind of the back end story in a little quick rehash of what happened.
So were you stuck in the booth way in the back near the bathrooms in the old Heinz Convention Center?
This was actually already at the new convention center already. Yeah. I was in dental school at Heinz, so I went to the Heinz Convention many times. But no, this was at the new convention center. But I was in the back, and I can tell you what: if you go to trade shows and as a dentist, and you can't imagine the behind the scenes that take place in these shows. It's pretty amazing. When I first went, I can't believe what it looks like. 12 hours before it starts, and then get there and everything's manicured, looks great. So it's really interesting the different perspective I got from being a vendor. And I mean, that was the start of everything. That was in 2013. I mean, I would probably, maybe I went to 10 shows that year, and it grew up to about 40 plus shows prior to COVID. I was going to a year. I was on the road every single week, traveling, 100,000 miles a year by air. So it was an interesting journey it took me on.
I can't even imagine how expensive some of those booths must be, because it's, they're like traveling cities. I have been to the Yankee like a day early before it opened, and it's just a bunch of crates and suitcases, and then they make it into this beautiful event. But I can't imagine how expensive it must be to have one of those front of the line booths. That's I don't know how many square feet, but
it's funny you mentioned that. I told you I was in the back to begin with. Well, the last Yankee Dental meeting, the last live one, which is in 2020, kind of prior to COVID, we were booth number 500, which was the first booth in the 500 row. So I started all the way in the back, and now we made its way all the way to the front. So, and we had a 10 by 20 booth at most of these bigger meetings now. So like I said, it's been an interesting journey.
And is Birdeye now, are they still doing some of these events virtually? Are they going to be joining Yankee or some of the other conferences, but through a virtual aspect?
So, it's interesting. Virtual meetings for me in particular, being a dentist, is kind of one of those up and down things. I am a big time speaker. I speak, all these many, sessions a year, 35 to 40 meetings a year I speak at. The speaking part is good virtually, I think, but the exhibit hall, I think I actually put a poll in my Facebook group, Raving Patients, and I asked people, when you go to these virtual events, do you attend the exhibit hall? And 90% of them said, no, I absolutely do not attend the exhibit hall. So I don't think it's been a great investment for Birdeye at the couple of meetings we've done. If I'm speaking, I think it works okay, but I don't think dentists attend these exhibit halls at these meetings. So I think it's up in the air to see how things go. I think for most of 2021, I think we're going to be virtual still, especially because of the increase in COVID as we're, recording this. So I don't think it's going to be really safe to go to these large events. So I think, until at least the third quarter, maybe even into 2022, I don't think there's going to be many live events.
Yeah, and those events, I mean, I think they were losing attendance. They're so expensive to put on. I mean, for Yankee to rent out that huge Seaport convention center is can't be cheap.
Oh, no,
And
it's
I was the same
incredible.
way. Towards the end, I would walk down the exhibit hall, with like my eyes glazed over because I was a piece of chum to the sharks that were trying to sell me something, and I would just walk to the exhibit that I, was specifically targeting. So a lot of companies were saying that there just isn't the return on investment in these big conventions. So I'm going to put on my hard-hitting research here, journalism hat here, and so you're the director of dental at Birdeye. I'm assuming that they work with other businesses, other health professions, like even like restaurants. I mean, reviews are everything now.
Yeah, Birdeye is dental is by far our largest vertical,
Mhm.
partially because of what I've done. And most people, like I said, know me as they call me the Birdeye guy for a reason. Um, but dental is our biggest vertical, but we are in healthcare, we are in legal. We have a very large legal number of clients, lawyer clients. We're in home builders, large corporations, enterprise corporations. We work with, if you could be a limo driver or a psychic, and you want to get reviews for your business, and we help them. So we can help any business, but those are healthcare and legal, dental, home builders. Those are some of our largest verticals out there. Restaurants, like you said.
I was thinking of becoming a part-time psychic, so I may call you up on that. Um, so does Bird consider themselves reputation marketing, reputation management? What would be the best way to describe Birdeye?
So I have always used the term reputation marketing because you want to market your great reputation. Reputation management was a very old term that really talked about figuring out how to get negative reviews off the first page of Google. That's what reputation management was. So I termed reputation marketing and am promoting that ever since I've been doing this. So we are a reputation marketing company. We help businesses get more reviews onto Google or Facebook or any of these other niche sites that you want. We get them more visible, we get them more credible, we get them what I refer to as more social proof, and ultimately to increase their visibility and increase the number of new patients that are coming in. So we've since really become a customer experience platform or a patient experience platform that have added some neat little features to the product to make it more than just reviews.
Okay, I want to get to some of that a little later on, and just focus on the reviews right now because I think it's so important for a dental office. I mean, we work so hard to make the patient happy. We're no one loves going to the dentist. We're using drills, needles. They're paying a lot of money, and for someone to come out of a dental appointment and leave a good review, you have to work really hard at. It's not like the ice cream store down the street, which opened up and they have immediately have 1,000 reviews because everyone loves ice cream. Not everyone loves going to the dentist, so you have to work as hard as you can to make that patient experience pleasant, so they will leave a good review, and ultimately the new patients are like the new blood, and they're the ones that are going to leave reviews and tell their friends and their family, and it's going to create more new patients. So I think reviews are just so important. And like you said, it creates a credibility. People are want engagement. They want to see what kind of reviews you're getting and decide whether or not you're the office for them. Now, how does it work with Birdeye? Do you integrate with all practice management softwares?
We do. We have about 98% of the market covered. So we work with some of the cloud-based platforms, Curve and Dentrix Ascends, Planet TDS, and then almost all the server-based products. There's very few of them that we don't have an integration with. One in particular is Mac Practice, but I think literally 98% of the market's covered by what we have from an integration perspective.
Okay, and what about, do you integrate with all systems? Like, I'm assuming Google and Facebook are the biggest, and Google is probably by far the biggest, right? What about other systems like Twitter and Health Grades, or even integrating on my website, getting reviews right on my site?
Yeah, so we get reviews on Google and Facebook mostly. We can get Health Grades for dentists, but in my opinion, Health Grades is really a doctor site, not a dental site. And so we could do Health Grades. Facebook and Google by far, as you mentioned, there's no doubt is the biggest. Facebook would be second. We cannot help with Yelp. Yelp has really made it a point that they don't want any third-party company working to get Yelp reviews. So if you are listening to this and your product is recommending or offering Yelp reviews to your patients, you need to be a little bit careful, because if Yelp catches it, they will take all your Yelp reviews down without even asking you. They just remove them. So you got to be careful with Yelp. Once we generate the review, we actually cross-post it, which means we have a feature that allows you to put it on your business Facebook page. If you have Twitter, we can put it on Twitter. We can put it on LinkedIn as well. So those are 3 places it could automatically be sent to with our platform. And then we also have an integration with your website company, and we use widgets, which are just coded applications that can pull reviews from the Google feed and just any of the feeds. And we have all the reviews that are put on the website in one little scrollable widget. So this is what I call the social proof part of the platform, where we're actually marketing the reviews so people see them and thus in turn want to become your patients.
Mm-hmm. What about Instagram or TikTok or some of the other platforms? Are those?
No, Instagram is a big request, but Instagram doesn't allow this type of cross-posting. They don't really have a desktop interface. You have to do things mostly on a mobile device, and that's why we don't have that ability at this point.
Yeah, so I think we've had Birdeye in my office. We came out of Yankee Dental with it maybe 4 years ago, and I think we had about 25 Google reviews, and now I think we're up to 450. I think what we do is send the patient a text about 2 hours after their appointment. Is that about the sweet spot? Is that what you recommend, about an hour or 2 after their appointment?
I actually like doing it at the end of the day. And the reason that is because you get the ability to turn someone off. I like the office to have control. And if you set them to all go out at the end of the day, if somebody has a problem in the middle of the day, you can turn them off so they do not get a review request. If you're sending it out an hour or 2 afterwards, it doesn't give you that ability to do that. So I like it from a perspective of more manual control to do it that way.
Yeah, actually, I think we initially had it set up for an hour, and I had actually patients still in the chair, and they were getting the text to leave a review, and they're like, I'm still working on them. We haven't even finished the procedure yet, and they're getting a request for a review. So that's all customizable, correct?
It is. The system is fully customizable. The messaging is customizable, where the times you control the messages going out, that's all customizable.
What about the IP address? So if I were to send them a review and they were still in the office and they were using the office's Wi-Fi, does that affect Does Google see that and filter that out? It's better to send them the review request while they're at home under a different IP address and different Wi-Fi.
Yeah, so one of the big no-nos is actually having a review kiosk in your office or having the patient do the reviews in the office. And there's two reasons. One is because of IP addresses you mentioned. They do not want similar IPs. If you have too many reviews coming in the same IP address, Google actually will take those down. The other thing is location-based reviews. So we have location services turned on. So if they're coming from the same location, the physical location, that's another reason why Google doesn't like those either. So that's why I recommend when the patient is left, that's when the reviews go out. So you don't have those IP address and location-based issues, which is GPS coordinates basically.
Now, is Google constantly changing their rules and their filters? I remember a couple years ago or a few years ago, there was a way that you could actually gate the reviews, and you can actually funnel the patient to whether they're leaving a positive or a negative experience. And if they were going to leave a positive review, then it would funnel them to either Facebook or Google. And then if they were going to leave a negative review, their phone just exploded. No, it would lead them towards leaving more like a direct feedback. But that's gone away, right? Google does not allow that anymore.
Well, so this is a big question about, you said gating. So this I get questioned a lot of. So what gating actually means is giving the patient an option of like, would you recommend us, yes or no, or like thumbs up, thumbs down, which is, and then whichever you selected sent you in another direction. That is gating. You can't do that. That's been ruled out now since April of 2017. So over 3 years ago, you've not been able to do that type of review. Well, basically what Birdeye has is we present a question or a statement, thank you for being our patient. We hope you had a great experience. And we want to get a positive review from you. However, if there's a problem, we want you to contact us directly. And then there's green buttons, which are Google and Facebook, or health grades, or anything else you want to add. And then there's a red button, which says contact us directly. So because it's in one screen, and a patient can still technically write a bad review on Google directly for you, okay? Not that it happens, 99% of the time, 99.2% of the time to be exact, the patient hits the red button and leaves feedback directly for the office. So because you have one screen that allows two options basically, and then you send them in the other direction, that is not gated.
Okay. Yeah, it's actually really nice that they have that option to leave direct feedback, because if they don't have that option, they're going to leave a bad review. But if they have that direct feedback option, they would much, like you said, 99% of the time, they'd rather do that. Now, what if I had 30 block family members leave a review? Does Google filter that out? Do they know what I'm up to? Is it all part of their algorithm to screen these reviews?
I would tell you that you want to definitely not get a ton of reviews from with the same last name. If they're different last names and they're true patients, I don't see it as an issue. The issues are, fake reviews from non-patients is always an issue, whether it's positive or negative. And like I said, as long as they're positive, I just wouldn't have the same name on all the reviews. That's going to look very sketchy, and you want to be as credible a business as possible. So I would tell you that that would be the main thing I would worry about, is that just a credibility issue there.
Yeah, patients are gonna, they're gonna sniff that out and see, 15 different blocks just left a 5-star review for Dr. Block's office. What about double dipping? Can I just had a cleaning, leave a good review, and then I had a filling a week later, leave another review, or does Google just stack those on top of each other?
Yeah, so Google will only allow you to do one review per through Google My Business, or one review per Gmail account or Google account. So if you were to send a review request, which is one of the reasons why I limit it to one time within a certain time frame, but if someone did a review for you today and then did a new review for you in 3 months under the same Gmail account, all it would do, it would update the review. It wouldn't actually give you an additional review.
Okay. Does Google, do they filter some reviews that we don't even know about, that someone left a review and it just is in Google space somewhere? That I remember this happened a while ago. A patient left a review, but then it just popped up like 3 months later. Um, is that part of their algorithm where they will screen some reviews, and if they don't think it's authentic or organic, and then um, filter it?
Does it happen? I've heard stories of it happening, especially with COVID in place. Google was very delayed in actually getting reviews to post. They stopped it completely during COVID.
Mm.
Yelp is more known for that, where they literally will take reviews down and they'll put it into a different part of their product. Um, Most Google reviews do post. I haven't seen too many people that said, "Hey, I got a review and I didn't see it post." I have heard many instances where there's actually a Google My Business violation, not a violation with the review itself. So it's not like someone's cursing or anything like that. These are violations with the Google My Business page. It wasn't claimed properly. There's a question about it, and those reviews, your person leaving it will see the review on their end, but the business doesn't see the review posted, and that's happened to a number of different people that I know.
What about profanity? I had a patient call me an a-hole because I dismissed their family member because they didn't want to take x-rays in like 4 years, and they had a bunch of interproximal caries. So they called me an a-hole, um, and actually threatened to leave a bad review, like some kind of extortion. And I don't think they ended up leaving a review, or maybe they did, and there was too much profanity, and Google filtered it out. But does Google take that into effect?
They do, but a lot of times I just flag the review, which tells Google, "Hey, check this out," and then they make a decision. It's very hard unless they really. There's a number of reasons why Google reviews are not allowed to be posted. There's a like seven or eight violations that will prevent a review from. Cursing is one of them, but I've seen plenty of reviews stay with cursing in it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's done on a case by case basis, but it's very difficult to get a Google review to come down by asking Google to do that.
So ultimately, if you do get a negative review, your best thing to do is just bury it with positive reviews, right? You're not gonna get that bad review taken down.
Right. I've been preaching to the choir for 7.5 years. The best defense against a bad review is more reviews, more positive reviews to bury it. I think actually having some negative reviews actually makes you more credible because we are a
Mm-hmm.
business that happens to get some negative reviews. If you have all positive reviews, I always like to say, hey, piss a patient off once in a while because you want that negative review to be posted because it makes the other reviews look all credible. That's I have so many patients that come in and say they chose me because yes, I have 300 plus positive reviews, but I have 10 or 15 negatives because look, I always like to say this during my seminars. I'm a New Yorker. I'm living in Philadelphia now, moved to Florida, but I have a New York attitude, and my mouth can get me into trouble. I say things
Mm-hmm.
and I regret it, and people write bad reviews about that. It's about money. It's about issues that have place in the office. But it's usually about money or running late. Normally, is why you get the bad reviews or bad customer service.
Yeah, not typically about your actual dental work. It's about something that happened with insurance, or a payment, or here's one that may make your brain explode. Um, I don't know if you can wrap your head around this one. I actually had someone leave a negative 5-star review for me, and I didn't know what to do. They were complaining, and it like created this Facebook war. Again, it was about X-rays. We dismissed the patient. They kept refusing X-rays, so we dismissed the patient. Probably called me an a-hole again. Um, but I don't know if she clicked the wrong button, but she left me a 5-star review, and then went on to
Bash the practice.
bash me and our policy of X-rays. So from there, I think it immediately got sucked into Facebook, and then it started to create this like Facebook war where some of our other patients were chiming in. Oh, Acton Dental is, they're doing this because this is the standard of care. And so I think the patient was looking for a battle, um, one that I did not want to get involved with. So I was confused on what to do because it was a 5-star review, but she bashed me. So, what do you do in that when that happens?
Well, it's two scenarios. One is the other way where you get a 1-star review and it's positive. Okay,
Right.
those are the best 1-star reviews. Okay, the 5-star review when they bash you is an issue because I don't believe the average patient reads every 5-star review. Okay, um, 1-star reviews they'll read. So if it's a 1-star review that really should be a 5-star, I think that's good. If it's a 5-star that's bad, again, I don't worry about it too much because I don't think people delve into those reviews in huge detail. Um, there's not a whole lot you can do there. I mean, again, I don't recommend suing patients. I don't recommend. You can try to contact them and see if you can get it down by fixing their issue. That's always the best defense. Is take it offline first. Reach out to the patient, contact them via phone or email, see if they'll have a conversation with you, and that's the way I would handle that. But the 5-star review where there's something positive is something that's tough to handle.
Yeah, it was a bit strange. Now, what is Birdeye's relationship with Google? Are you considered like a certified reviewer with Google? Does that involve like a envelope of cash, like in The Sopranos, like to Google? Like, how does it work? Like, how do you? Because I know Birdeye, maybe one or two other companies are more like the more certified review systems. Um, will Google pick up a review because we have a relationship with Birdeye in my office more than maybe another software?
So the relationship is that we have to go through a um, kind of a approval stage for the wording and the messaging. We have access to Google's API, and we wouldn't have access if we didn't get that approval. So we just have to get Google's okay to use the verbiage in our messaging to make sure we're not gating reviews. And we've had this partnership with them where they give us access to their API, which a couple other companies have. It's not unique. It's not just exclusive to Birdeye. There are other companies that have the same API because their messaging is within the rights that Google wants you to follow, basically.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, I've heard the same issues with Yelp. Yelp seems to be like if you want to play, you got to pay. And I think we have like 6 Yelp reviews, and we don't pay. So I'm sure there's other Yelp reviews out there that just aren't being shown because we're not a paying customer.
That's a big myth, by the way. That's not true.
Okay.
So I give a class called Help on Yelp at a lot of my seminars. A lot of the ones, especially in California, want that because Yelp is tremendous in California. But that's a big myth. There's no correlation between paying them and having reviews show. Okay, um, there's nothing there that says that. So if you pay, you're still not going to have reviews come out of the filter. If you don't pay, you're not going to have any more reviews go into the filter. It's a fluid thing. They have an algorithm. They want the patients to be active Yelpers in order for the reviews to stick. An active Yelper is someone with lots of friends, lots of reviews, and they actually use the Yelp app a lot. That is what they consider an active Yelper. And if the patient isn't an active Yelper, which in many towns they're not, because Yelp isn't big and huge in a lot of towns, then Yelp is going to filter that review out, take it down, and put it into the not recommended section. But paying them doesn't change that fact. So you basically pay them for advertising dollars. You pay them to market your business on Yelp, get a premium placement. That's what you're paying them for. You're not paying for anything to happen to the reviews. So you got to be very careful, but they're not extorting money. I've done a lot of research on this. I spoke to a lot of clients about it. Simply the way is, if you're in a town that actually gets a lot of Yelp reviews, get those patients to write Yelp for you. And you can't ask. Yelp doesn't want you to ask for the review. They want it to be organic and natural. So for those that want to get more Yelp reviews, I'll give you a little tip on here. Print out a sign that says, are you a Yelper? Check in on Yelp. So people who are Yelpers know they can check into the office. Okay. Offer them a Starbucks gift card for $10. Offer them something inexpensive because you can incentivize the check-ins. You can't incentivize the reviews. Mm-hmm. So put the sign up. People who check in $10 Starbucks gift card, Yelp will send these patients an automatic review request at the end of the day. That's a better organic way to get Yelp reviews.
Okay, that's interesting. So they can do it on the way in, but not on the way out. So as far as checking in, but not leaving a review. So that's interesting. What about, does Google kind of have the same thing where if there's someone who's an active Googler, that they have more influence and their review will get kind of the top of the list? Because I know my brother-in-law, like he's left like I don't know 1,000 Google reviews, and he's like a level 5 Googler or whatever they call it. and as soon as he writes a review for a restaurant, it gets immediately shown on the first page of reviews. Um, how does that work? Does Google have like their own system for influencers?
They do. They're called local guides. And if you're a local guide, your review has a lot more credibility than not. And when you go to the most relevant reviews, because you can search by most relevant, lowest, highest, most recent, when you go to the most relevant ones, the ones that are from the elite Yelp or the elite Googlers or the local guides, as you call them, um, they tend to be there. So those are the ones that you see by just looking at the reviews. You have to filter the other ones and use like I said, the newest, the lowest, the highest. That you have to actually filter. It shows most relevant, and those are usually the local guides.
Okay, so it's as far as relevancy. Yeah, so before we got Birdeye, Birdeye was it just made it so much less stress. I went to a course, and this was before we had Birdeye, and the lecturer was talking about how important it is to ask for reviews, and the best time to do it was after you finished a procedure on a patient, they were happy, and then you'd ask for a review. I think I did that for about 2 days and just felt awkward about it. So, now Birdeye just does it automatically. So it's one less thing I have to think about. It, does does it work through text? Does it work through email? And is text better because more patients are going to open a text than an email?
Exactly right. So we do both text and email depending on what's in the system, in your Dentrix or Open Dental or SoftDent or EagleSoft, whatever your practice management software is. For my practice and many others, the texting is by far gets the best results. Most text messages are open within 2 minutes of getting it. The click-through rate's very high on a text message, close to 30% for me. But I still send emails because it's not everybody. So the preference is text message, but email still works for some people.
Now, what if I was on a different system? I had a different system than Birdeye, and I had 100 Google reviews, and I switched over to Birdeye. Is there a chance I could lose some of those reviews in the transfer?
No, because you're not transferring the Google My Business page. The Google My Business page remains as long as you're not doing anything, or as long as you have not collected other reviews, in a way that's deems questionable by Google. You shouldn't lose any. I had a client who was using another software, and they were generating the reviews in the office. And she came to me and says, I have like 120 Google reviews. And we looked, there was only like 25 there. She goes, that doesn't make any sense. And when I asked her how she's getting them, she told me that the patients are doing it in the office. And that's a big no-no. So Google took the reviews down because of that. So that would be the only reason someone loses reviews.
Okay. Now, what's the data on reviews? Is it more current? Are patients searching for the most current reviews, the most relevant reviews? Is it like the ones from last week or last month?
Yeah, the data from a product called Bright Local, it's a company that surveys consumers. The 2019 survey was released in December of last year. The 20 survey will be out in the next probably 6 weeks, probably. And the studies show that about 84% of people think that reviews older than 3 months are not relevant, and 48% of them want them within 2 weeks. So the fresh current reviews are a lot more relevant and credible than ones that are older.
Okay, that's interesting. Now, what about the data behind the average number of reviews? We have, does it typically, do you correlate the number of views regarding the number of new patients you have, just the overall active patients? Are new patients more likely to leave a review than existing patients? What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know if there's any correlation between a new patient versus old patient leaving reviews, but there's a direct correlation between number of reviews, what are called consistent citations, so your listings are consistent, and ranking on a Google map. So that's local SEO. So for some other dentists who I know, I'm not going to name names here, but they've used other companies and they've just gotten the reviews fixed. They haven't gotten the listings and name, address, and phone number, these citations corrected. So their citations are a mess and they wonder why they're not ranking at the top of a Google search. And that's because Google wants you to have lots of reviews, consistent citations from a trust factor. And that's what helps you boost you up the rankings. And I'm talking about the map rankings, not the organic rankings.
Okay. Yeah, in the end, I think it's, the reviews are so important. It drives people to your site, and ultimately they're going to call to become a new patient if they feel comfortable with you, what they see on your website, and what kind of reviews people are leaving. Are people more likely to read the 5 stars and the 1 stars and not the ones in the middle?
Well, there's very few. It's either one star or 5 stars. There's very few like 3-star reviews. It's pretty amazing. There's no in between. So that's very interesting you asked that. But they're more apt to read the 1 stars in my opinion. Check them out and see what people are saying about your business. But there's very few 3-star reviews. So I don't think even that matters.
Yeah, we had this odd 4 star review where the patient left this glowing review about everything, but she found it hard. She couldn't find her way out of the building, and it's not a very big building. I think she got a little lost, so she dropped us down to 4 stars, which is fine. I think patients will
Four,
sniff that
four
out.
star, 4-star reviews are fine. But I wanted to mention, I think that even the biggest factor when it comes to reviews is that if you're marketing your practice and you don't have a lot of reviews, you're wasting your money. Okay.
Mm.
If you're spending a lot of money, if you have TV ads or radio ads and you simply don't have a lot of reviews, and I would say the magic number is 75, or even if you're doing Google AdWords or any type of funnels out there, if you're doing that without a lot of reviews, you are totally wasting your money because the conversion is going to be really bad. So the reviews are the fuel that drives the marketing engine. So
Hmm.
if you are marketing your practice and you don't have a lot of reviews, stop because you're wasting money. Wait till you get more reviews and then save the money and use it in a more effective ROI once you have the reviews that are coming in large quantities.
So is that a message out there to the young dentists that are just starting their practice to first build up their reviews, build up their credibility, and then start marketing once they've hit, roughly around 75 reviews?
Yeah, well, I mean, look, for practices that are startup, a lot of people I speak to, they open their doors and they have no reviews. Well, there's
Mm.
no credibility then. So even when you're a startup, I want you to go out there and have 10, 12, 15 reviews, even if it's from previous patients prior to wanting to do, direct mail pieces or any type of Google AdWords to get patients to come in because they're not going to do it. It's not effective. So you definitely want to pause before you, and even people always say, should I get my new website up and running? And I always say, why do you get a new website? And the doctors eventually get to, well, I get a new website because I want more new patients. Remember, the website doesn't drive new patients. It's the visibility that does. You need a more visible Google My Business page. So you've got to start with the reviews first before you even get a new website because you're wasting your money on that too.
Yeah, and ultimately, when I ask new patients, how'd you hear of us? They will mention um, whether it's through their insurance company or a friend, but it usually ends up with, well, we really liked your reviews. You had really good reviews. You had over 400 reviews, so that's why we came here. Um, and you can't judge a book by its cover. I have a guy that he leaves the greatest reviews every time he leaves, and he looks like a construction worker. He's always dirty, and he's looks like this blue collar guy that someone you wouldn't expect to be on social media, and he is like my Google review champ. So it's not just the young millennials that are out there leaving reviews. It's all the population. So all right, so thanks so much, Len. Again, go to Deals for Dentists and you can find out Birdeye's promo offer. Get $300 off the professional plan paid annually, or $25 if paid monthly. What else does Birdeye have going on before we call it a day? You mentioned that they're more of a whole patient kind of service platform now.
So we have a referral product now, which helps you get electronic referrals from your patients. So when someone says they want to refer to you, you say, well, that's word of mouth. Well, now we send a message about 48 hours after the review goes out requesting a referral. And they're able to share the information about the practice via text message, email, Facebook Messenger, and Facebook. And if they put it on Facebook per se, they put it, this is my dentist, they're awesome. And there's a link in there that if they click, the person that's being referred gets sent right to the office, and they can choose to make an appointment or send a communication to the office. So again, word of mouth, which is just people referring, versus electronic word of the mouth, has been a very effective way in getting more patients into the practices. So we have a referral product that does that. And then we have this professional product that has a web chat integration. So you put a little chat service on your website. It's a text messaging platform, so you can text your patients, two-way texting. And there's also something called Receptionist, which is an after hours recorder of voicemail, which when the patient leaves the message, it automatically goes into this inbox or this text messaging platform. So you can message patients. It will be transcribed, the voicemail will be transcribed into the Birdeye system. So that's part of the professional package. So we have a standard package, we have a premium package, which has referrals, and then we have a professional package, which has this web chat and interactions product that we were talking about.
So it's, it's not just reviews anymore. It's like you said, the whole customer experience. So what about yourself? Are you still lecturing and consulting? I'm assuming it's all virtual now and not traveling as much.
Yeah, so I do a number of speaking gigs. It is virtual. I have not been to a live event since March, right before COVID. So I do a lot of lecturing. I do a lot of consulting, which I enjoy. So I help practices market them. I was more of a marketing guy than a reputation guy. Now I obviously do a lot of reputation stuff, but I do a lot of marketing consulting. And then I have my own Zoom class, a workshop we call it, called the Art of the Sale, where I help dentists learn how to get higher case acceptance, how to use third-party financing. I have 6 or 7 ones I use in my office, so I talk about how I use that. Verbiage skills, what to say, what not to say, body language skills. So that's my latest thing is this called the Art of the Sale. So it's been a lot of fun for me doing that, where people are actually joining me on my Zoom, and I do this. It had been 3-4 times a week. Now it's down to a couple times a month, but that's a really fun workshop I've been doing as well.
So you're helping the dentist with marketing and patient presentation and case acceptance.
Correct.
What about Birdeye? What else is on the horizon for Birdeye? You have the customer experience. Anything else in the future?
Yeah, we've got some neat things in the pipeline. We're releasing some hopefully appointment reminder stuff down the road with EagleSoft and Dentrix. That's a little bit in the pipeline. We've got some other one's called Places, which helps with getting a little bit more local, like SEO stuff involved there as well. So a lot of things in the pipeline, too many to name. And they usually release it on a monthly basis. A new feature comes out within the platform.
Awesome. Looking forward to finding out more about that. Any last nuggets or words of wisdom for the young dentists out there before we sign off?
Make reputation your main marketing that you're doing. It's inexpensive. It will pay off terrific in ROI down the road. And having a great reputation is like having a really good credit score. If you don't have a great credit score, it's tough to do things out there. If you don't have a great reputation out there, it's going to be hard to attract new patients to your practice. So that would be a big nugget that I give to people listening.
Yeah, I feel like the reviews are like the backbone of our marketing. And it's also, like I was saying earlier, it's fun. Before our office meetings, or we used to, before every morning huddle, read out a review, give a shout out to one of the staff members. So it kind of re-energizes the staff and makes it fun. So, all right, thanks so much for joining us, Dr. Len Tao, the Director of Dental of Birdeye. So let's be in touch and maybe see what's going on in your world in the next 6 months or a year or so.
Thanks for having me, Eric. I really appreciate it.
All right, let's be in touch. Take care.
Bye-bye.